Darren Carrington with only 4 first downs.
And all of those by the pass, none by the run. And they came into this game, Chuck Noll said, look, we want to establish the run. The turnovers, the rushing yards, Pittsburgh has not done much without the help of John Elway.
Well, Pittsburgh thought they would establish the run early, coming off the Philadelphia Eagle success last week, running right at the Denver Broncos, running for 215 yards overall, and running through that first series 13 runs in a row for a touchdown. Bobby Humphrey, who had 62 yards on the ground in the first half, was stopped by the rookie from the University of Pittsburgh, inside linebacker Jerry Olszewski. Bobby Humphrey, the leading rookie rusher in the AFC now, 16 carries for the 69 yards, including that 22-yard touchdown run in the first quarter. Picked up 7, second down and 3 at the 27. Just underway in the third quarter. Humphrey looks to go wide and cannot.
Nothing.
Greg Lloyd, along with Tim Johnson, making the stop on Bobby Humphrey.
Good lateral pursuit that time by the Pittsburgh defense. They were not tricked at all. This is a very active defense. You see Johnson 78, Lloyd 95, staying outside those blocks. Humphrey has nowhere to go, so this is the first time now in the second half that John Elway has to throw. He doesn't appear to be, after that first half performance, very confident.
And he is looking at a third down and 5. He has 4 wideouts: Johnson, Young, Jackson, and the Teal back off the injury list, did make a reception earlier. Elway being pursued, and down he goes. Carnell Lake, the strong safety, getting credit for the Steelers' 3rd sack of the afternoon.
And that's a safety blitz. Pittsburgh was all over the line of scrimmage. Pittsburgh has played well defensively. Lake comes from the right side of the screen. Untouched. There's supposed to be a hot receiver somewhere. That's Carnell Lake's first sack of the season. And Haran in for the first punt of the day.
Carnell Lake, a guy who made the difficult transition from linebacker to strong safety, a second-round draft pick. He's played well. Woodson back, and here is that first punt by Haran. One of the better punters in the NFL. Woodson pumped it, and it's recovered by Dwight Stone. Darren Carrington was in the coverage, a 42-yard punt. Now, Denver's punt coverage has been poor, last in the AFC going into today. This is their first opportunity, and Woodson running to his left to handle it, and to go off his hands.
By all rights, that should be fair caught. But Pittsburgh does not have a fair catch on a punt so far this season. I asked Dan Edwards, their PR director, what do you do, fine these guys if they fair catch them? Pittsburgh's lucky to retain possession. And
they start out from their 41 first series for the second half. Tim Worley, the rookie from Georgia, it's across the 45. The nose tackle Cragen, inside linebacker Dennison, combining on the stop. He went for 6. It'll be a second down and 4 at the 47. Now we sweep around the scoreboard. A look at the early games. Cleveland, led by Kozar, threw for 3 with the victory. Same for Houston and Atlanta. Miami, the Jets, Green Bay, all winning. Will continue in a moment. Straight ahead move by Hodge, and he is short of the first down at midfield. Met by Carl Mecklenburg. Overtime, Minnesota beating the Rams. 7 field goals for the former Bronco Rich Collis. Kansas City knocking off Seattle. And in the later games, Raiders with a 21-0 lead. Earlier, Bo Jackson, a 92-yard run. And Boomer Esiason knocked out of the game because of a bruised lung. And rookie Eric Wilhelm, a southpaw rookie from Oregon State, is in at quarterback for Esiason. A 3rd down and 2 from midfield. Willie has the first down and more. Stiff-arming his way, finally stopped by the corner, Tyrone Braxton.
You can see what Pittsburgh's idea is here in the second half, and that is power football. This is a sweep. You see lots of power blocking here. Everybody down. Good lead block by the running back. and Worley right up there quick, and nobody from Denver can even catch him. You see an excellent block by Terry Long on the pull. Hodge 33 out front. Nice 14-yard pickup for a first down.
And this Denver defensive unit has prided itself on the fact they have not given up a run of more than 21 yards. That a good pickup by Worley. First down at the Denver 36. Play action. And Brister on the roll. Able to get it away and threw it away. Receivers covered. Good rush by Alfonso Carricker. Lewis Lips, who has yet to catch a ball, was in the area.
But that call surprises me. Play action fake. After running the ball so well, they go back to the play action run, or the play action pass, and Brister is bumped to the ground by Alfonso Carricker. So now they're in a position again where it's 2nd and 10. Tom Moore's the man with the call, and they're running the ball very well, and they can establish some control of the line of scrimmage. There's Chuck Noll right there by his side. What do we got here?
2nd down, 10 at the 36. Steelers trailing 13-7. The draw for Worley, running well, bouncing off tacklers. Michael Brooks did get him down, and suddenly Tim Worley impressing that Bronco defensive unit.
Marv, look what they're doing here. They're running a full block to get good field position or good blocking position for all the offensive linemen, and it works against Denver. Watch this lead up through there by Tunchilkin. Worley knocks Dennison right on his keister and picks up 6.
And he is now gone for 53 yards, 9 carries, 3rd down and 3 at the 29. Carter in motion. And Brister has Hodge. Hodge right at the first down marker. We'll have to see where they spot it. Took the hit from Atwater and Henderson. Penalty marker is down.
Illegal use of hands against the defense or pass interference. Well, what those 2 interceptions have done, certainly given Pittsburgh a psychological lift, kept them in the ball game.
Use of the hands by the defense, hands to the face, number 36, 5 yards and first down.
That's Mark Haynes. Nickel defense. He's on Louis Lips right on the outside of the formation, and he gets his hand right up underneath his face mask, but I don't see the flag thrown yet. It was thrown. First down, Pittsburgh.
The ball is at the Denver 24-yard line. Now the backfield of Hodge and Carter. Carter, 24, peels off. Brister going deep, wide open man, but he overthrew the tight end, Mike Mularkey. Oh, Bubby Brister walking that one off.
Oh, that's a special play because they run Carter in motion. He draws Dennis Smith, the strong safety, out with him. Mularkey runs the good pattern. Michael Brooks is the linebacker that should be in coverage. They say the game is a game of inches. See the motion? That draws Dennis Smith out there. You can see the corner is wide open. Bubby just overthrows it. Oh.
2nd and 10 at the 24. The rookie Hill is to the left. Lips in motion. And Hodge for a very short gain. Michael Brooks with the aggressive tackle on the fullback, Merrill Hodge.
Brooks from the backside. Excellent pursuit linebacker. Ran that play all the way down the other side of the offense. You'll see Brooks right side of the screen. When that play goes away, he starts down the line of scrimmage. And when Hodge cuts back up, Brooks there to make the tackle.
6 minutes have gone by in this 3rd quarter. Pittsburgh Steelers with a record of 4-4, despite scoring the fewest number of touchdowns in the NFL, only 13 including today. A timeout has been called now. There's Chuck Noll looking to talk it over with his quarterback, Bubby Brister. We'll take a break. Back after this. 76,000 at Mile High in Denver. The Steelers haven't played here since back in 1984 in a playoff matchup won by Pittsburgh 24-17. Third down 8 at the Denver 22. Broncos 13 and the Steelers 7. Brister in trouble. Down he goes. Ron Holmes, who had 2 sacks last week, comes up with his 4th of the season. And for Denver, their first sack of Bubby Brister.
I think you would call that a timely sack, wouldn't you? They got 9 guys at the line of scrimmage. It looks like Holmes is on John Reenstra, the left guard, beats him good, takes him out of field goal range. Newsome has to come in and punt.
So the Denver Broncos, who have done it throughout the season, come up with another big defensive play. Vance Johnson is back. And he lets it go. It flies into the end zone. So they bring it out to the 20, but a flag thrown at the far side of the field.
That's down the field, too, Marv.
Just under 9 minutes remaining in the third quarter.
Now, this all depends. Holding. Defense before or after the ball leaves his foot. It has to be, once the ball is in the air, then they'll tack it on from the 20.
Holding, number 29 by the receivers after the ball is kicked. It'll be Denver's ball on the 10-yard line. First down at 10.
The hold is called on Darren Carrington. So they'll start out from the 10, but first a timeout. We'll be back in a moment. Bob, a very rough day for the Cincinnati Bengals. Boomer Esiason injured earlier, bruised lung. And Eric Wilhelm came on. Now we're told James Brooks out of the game because a contusion of the ribs has set him back. Denver taking over first down from their 10-yard line. And Elway gives it to Humphrey. Short advance. David Little, the inside linebacker, first to get to Bobby Humphrey.
Marv, it does appear that Dan Reeves is being very, very careful down here. When you have first and 10 at the 10, it's a very good time for play action or a throw, and he chooses to run the ball in the line of scrimmage. I'm wondering if he's thinking about those 2 interceptions that Elway threw right into coverage in the first half.
Particularly the second one, he tried to drill it through, and Brian Hinkle picked it off. Second down and 9 at the 11. Sewell and Humphrey now around the field at the same time. Humphrey in the backfield and takes the handoff and gets out to the 15. So 4 yards picked up on the play. It will be a third down and 5. Olszewski on the stop of Humphrey. Just under 8 minutes remaining in this third quarter. Broncos 13 and the Steelers 7. Humphrey, 22-yard touchdown run. A couple of field goals for Treadwell, both from 26. Brister to Carter on a 15-yard pass play.
Denver now with 4 wide receivers. Pittsburgh with 6 defensive backs. This is where Elway's had his problems.
Michael Young in motion.
Screen.
And Elway able to complete, has the first down with Sewell. Steve Sewell, 5-year man from Oklahoma who can run the ball, catch it, and occasionally will throw it. One of the league's talented all-around players, able to pick up the first down.
Doug Weidel is the offensive guard out in front of him. Again, call from the sideline, a very conservative call, picks up the first down. Good coverage by Pittsburgh downfield. Denver on first down so far today. 5 passes, 12 runs.
First down at the 24-yard line. And it's Mel Brunton for very little. Greg Lloyd, the outside linebacker, coming up from the right side to make the stop on the rookie out of Miami. Well, a look at tonight's lineup following the NFL here on NBC. Ernest Goes to Camp, to be followed by the family comedy Sister Kate and My Two Dads, and then the world premiere of Cross of Fire. They will all be seen in their entirety following this telecast, except on the West Coast, where you can see them at their regularly scheduled time. It is a 2nd and 8 at the 26-yard line. 89 Mobley in motion. Johnson. Elway had the time. Nice catch. Vance Johnson on a 15-yard hookup.
See, that's the thing about John Elway. He can have a bad series, or he can have a bad half. He never seems to really lose self-confidence. There aren't many quarterbacks who can zip this thing out here like this. That's the toughest throw there is in the NFL. From the left hash mark, he throws all the way to the right sideline. Johnson with a spectacular catch. Dwayne Woodruff has got good coverage. There's no way to stop that. That ball was thrown before Johnson ever turned around and looked.
Second catch of the day for Vance Johnson. First down at the 41. Drive that began back at the 10. Elway. Bullet pass for another first down. Clarence Kay, the tight end, tackled by Carnell Lake. And now the Broncos, in a very nice-looking drive, have moved that ball out to midfield, and now they spot it at the 50, so it's short of the first down.
Again, great velocity on the throw. That snap throw, that gun of an arm. Looking left, not open. Wham! Gets it out there. The defensive back, Carnell Lake, was very close.
What about the tap of the ball? I know you talked about that.
I don't like
with
that.
Elway.
That's a bad habit.
Although he says no problem. Second down and about a yard and a half. Humphrey trying to go wide and is able to pick up the first down. Bumping with Woodruff. Now, you made the point that it can cause a slight delay in the release.
Yes, when it becomes part of your throwing motion, then it's bad. Now, I spoke to Mike Shanahan about it, and he said, yeah, I know he does it, but he does it going back. He doesn't do it just before he's ready to throw it. So watch again. Now, this is a scramble. He's looking left. There's the tap. He doesn't hit it with his. There's the tap right there. He's not open. There's the tap. And they throw it. I saw Bill Walsh break Ken Anderson of that habit.
First down at the 47 in Pittsburgh territory. Humphrey slashing his way inside the 45, met by the outside linebacker, Brian Hinkle.
Well, suddenly now, Denver doing a little better job at the line of scrimmage, Marv. Beginning to get some control right at the line of scrimmage. They've got youth up there. There are 4 new starters on that offensive line. Ken Lanier is the only guy with any real experience. Good block by Mel Bratton up front. Humphrey picks up about 2 yards. There's Hall of Famer Joe Green. He coaches that defensive front 4 or 3, whichever it might be.
Second down and 7. The ball at the Pittsburgh 44. You saw the movement. Elway stepping up.
Johnson.
Elway throwing deep. Touchdown.
The flag is on the defense.
Vance Johnson of what appears to be a free play for John Elway on the score on a 44-yard touchdown pass.
Marv, you could see that John Elway, here's the call.
Number 99 on the defense. That penalty is declined. Offside by the defense. That penalty is declined. Touchdown.
Marv, you could see that John Elway knew that he drew them off sides and waited and waited and waited for somebody to get close to the end zone. Well, watch once again. There's Gerald Williams. That's the 3rd time he's jumped off, and he knows he's got a free play. He doesn't want the little dunk. He's going for the distance, and Johnson again, a very acrobatic catch.
Vance Johnson among the leaders in the AFC in receptions. He now has 42 for the season. His 3rd catch of the day. David Treadwell with the extra point. John Elway with his first touchdown pass of the afternoon, number 10 on the season. And the Denver Broncos have extended to a 20-7 lead on the Pittsburgh Steelers. John Elway to Vance Johnson just a moment ago for a 27 Bronco lead. And a bouncing kickoff is handled by Rod Woodson. Trying to slip his way through, getting out to the 30-yard line, and the Pittsburgh Steelers back to the offense. Rick Dennison on the tackle of Woodson. The stat line on Elway.
Most impressive thing, 19 yards per completion today for John Elway. So therein lies the argument that people have in Denver. Not having a great year. 19 yards of completion. He throws a touchdown and 2 interceptions. That pretty much echoes his frustration of the season, and also the fans here in Denver. Vance, great play.
First down from the 30 with the crowd urging the Bronco defensive unit on, and Brister is stopped for the second time. The sack for Simon Fletcher. And for Fletcher, that is 9.5 sacks for the season. He is among the leaders in the NFL.
Brister rolls that way after there's pressure. You see 73 Fletcher on the blitz. And Fletcher with outstanding foot speed. Jackson is the offensive tackle that is supposed to make the block, but Fletcher gets right inside and is there before Bubby has any chance whatsoever.
So a loss of 10. It sets it back to a 2nd and 20 from the 20. Pittsburgh's offensive line, Jackson and Ilkin at the tackles, Reenstra and Long at the guards, Dawson at center. 83, Lips in motion. Here's Hodge. And he was crunched. Atwater and Smith, the safety men, combining to make the stop. Steve Atwater, the outstanding rookie, Denver's '1 draft pick out of Arkansas, leads the Broncos in tackles. He is a safety who is bigger than many linebackers at 6'3".
Watch where these guys are. Here's Smith. I believe this is Atwater, although I'm not sure. They flow very well. These two guys are between them. They're about 215 pounds each. And boy, they're going to make a lot of stops for Denver for a lot of years.
Jason Johnson now to the left. Lewis Lips to the right. Brister goes short for Hodge, and he is short by a good margin of first down territory. Wyman Henderson was all over Merrill Hodge.
That's 4 screens the Pittsburgh Steelers have tried. Only one has worked. Defensive coordinator Wade Phillips very proud of that defense getting out there. Remember, this defense couldn't stop anybody last year. Gave up 4.7 yards per rush. And now this is the defense of old.
And Harry Newsom, who has had a busy afternoon, is back at a 7. This is 6th punt of the day. Vance Johnson, major factor here today, is back. And the fair catch, playing it safe, is Vance Johnson, in particular with Ken Bell having all kinds of difficulties in recent weeks. Another terrific punt, 53 yards for Newsom. We'll be back in a moment. To 7, and that tells the story.
2nd and 9 all day long for Pittsburgh and Tom Moore. And of course, Elway with that 19-yard per completion average on his passes. They've struggled, but they've gotten it done to this point.
And Teal is split to the left, the tight end Mobley to the right, and then in motion. Here is Humphrey out across the 30. He has run well. 84 yards for Bobby Humphrey.
Well, if you're a Steeler fan, all you can hope for is that somebody coughs the ball up here. Pittsburgh comes up with an interception somehow to get some life back in the Pittsburgh Steelers side of the ball. And of course, I think Denver is aware of that. Be conservative in your play calling. Don't give Chuck Noll and the Pittsburgh Steelers some incentive here over the last quarter, plus 2 minutes.
2nd down and 5 across the 30. Natil, 84, in motion. Humphrey. And a short pickup. The stop by Jerry Olszewski, who's had a very strong game. A reminder, next Saturday, NBC Sports will present final round coverage of the Isuzu International, where golf's greatest players will be shooting for $650,000 in prize money. That is next Saturday on NBC Sports. And I understand, Bob, you'll be making your golf debut. Do you have a whispering approach? I don't see that.
I've never done anything without a crowd in the background, but I'll do my very level best not to bother those gentlemen. Gerald Williams is on the ground, hurt his knee, but I'll send you a postcard, Mark.
Please. Making the trek to Maui. So volleyball in the Olympics, boxing and football. Amazing versatility, Bob.
I'm all over the place. or I can't do any one thing good. You see Olszewski there, 92, try to strip the ball away. For the rest of this game, Denver's going to have to contend with that. Williams is the nose tackle. He kind of got his weight outside of that knee joint, and when that happens, that's when things begin to pop. Now he's working on Karts to center. He is right in front of the umpire there, and the play is going to go this way. And as he pursues, he kind of gets his leg. Anytime the weight of the upper body gets outside that knee joint, that's when you have trouble. And you can see he's kind of plants that right foot right there just as he's hit, and it gets popped right on the kneecap. So hopefully he's all right. He's up and moving around.
In his 4th season out of Auburn, last week against Kansas City, Gerald Williams had an emotional battle going head-to-head with former teammate Mike Webster.
Matter of fact, Mike Webster was Gerald Williams' best teacher in practice. Showed him some of the tricks. Williams is an excellent nose tackle, but he also said that I don't think Webster taught me all of his tricks.
It's a 3rd down and 4 at the 32. And a handoff for Sammy Winder, who just checked in. A.J. Jenkins, the rookie from Cal State Fullerton, came up to make the stop. Winder short of the 1st down. A minute remaining in this 3rd quarter as Mike Horan comes on to punt for the 2nd time today.
Now Pittsburgh almost has to come with some sort of punt block here. Something dramatic.
Well, 10 men up on the line. Rod Woodson back at his 30. Denver's punt coverage, as we mentioned earlier, has not been good this season. Here they come, but Horan has no problem. And Woodson.
Oh, fair catches it.
This time not taking any chances. He was shading to the left when he muffed it earlier, and this time decided not to take a shot.
First time in the 1989 season. This is the 9th game. First time that a Pittsburgh punt returner fair catches a punt. Wow.
41-yard punt by Horan. The Steelers are down 20-7 as they take over with a half-minute left in this 3rd quarter. Again, a run around the scoreboard. The finals from the early games. Pittsburgh very quickly to the line, starting from their 26. Lips in motion. And it's back to the ground for Worley, who has run very well this afternoon. Gets out to the 34, Steve Atwater, from the free safety position to make the hit.
You know, I was struck by Chuck Noll's comment to us last night. He's not exactly sure what they have in Worley. He's missed he missed all of training camp and been hurt, not healthy throughout the regular season. They're not exactly sure what they have yet.
And a player who has been labeled as a franchise running back. He was the number 7 pick overall in last year's 6. But a rough one thus far against the Broncos. Johnson runs it out of bounds. Run out by Tyrone Stowe. 40-yard punt, 5-yard return. We'll be back after these messages from your...
At 6:30, you may be asked to join the Broncos on their next...
Broncos, and in the Steelers' numbers, their 6 first downs, just 1 rushing.
And Bobby Humphrey by himself has outrushed the Pittsburgh Steelers. 22 carries, 84 yards. And fellow rookie Tim Worley has had one of his better performances. 10 rushes, 61 yards. Denver takes over. Minute gone by in the 4th quarter. 1st down from the 30-yard line. On a reverse. Does not work with Mark Jackson caught back behind the line. Jackson going from right to left was hit down by Greg Lloyd, the outside linebacker.
That's in lieu of a pass. Dan Reeves motioning. In some instances, he's signaling in the play, and in others, the formation. He seems much relieved. He was very glad that John Elway got that stuff off of his chest. And their last 7 games, 5-2, home to road. So Broncos got a tough final 7 games of the season.
Second down and 13. Elway going sideline. Mark Jackson came back to make the reception. He was looking for that first down marker. And let's see where they spot it. Wayne Woodruff on the stop. It is short of the first down.
Well, somebody ran the wrong pattern here. Clarence Kay, the tight end, is out there. Look how close Clarence Kay and Jackson are to each other. Jackson was wide open, but Clarence Kay looked like he ran too deep there.
It's a third down and 1. Sammy Winder and Mel Bratton now in the Denver backfield. And on the quarterback sneak, Elway has the first down. That catch a moment ago by Jackson was his first of the day.
Speaking of first, I know Denver's on the offense, but I don't think Lewis Lips has a catch today.
He does not.
Well, and last week, Lewis Lips had a huge week. 7 catches for 130 yards.
Raiders increasing their lead, 28-0. A very tough day for Cincinnati. Esiason and James Brooks, both sidelined by injury. San Diego leading Philadelphia. The Eagles with 4 straight wins. Last week they beat Denver. On the first down play, Bratton stopped by Lloyd. And now we're set for an update. Let's go to NFL Live. Here's Bob Costas.
Marv, as you noted, the Raiders continue to pour it on. Jay Schrader will go 84 yards down the left sideline to Willie Gall. After the former Bear makes the catch, he makes the good inside move, picks up a pick, and then a block. Boom, he's in there. 28-0. The Raiders are going to be 4-1 under Art Shell.
All right, Bob, and it's a second down and 5 at the 46 for Denver. They lead by the score of 20-7. Elway getting the wide open and firing one just beyond Mark Jackson, who lost Rod Woodson.
I think John Elway is totally shocked that Jackson was this far open past Woodson. This is a full trajectory throw by John Elway. You see Woodson trying to come from the safety spot. The corner gave him no help whatsoever. And he's looking at, please, come on, win, catch it, slow it down. Doggone it.
And now a third down and 5 at the 46. Elway in the second half, 5 for 6, 85 yards.
Yes.
Touchdown. In trouble, though. Elway able to scramble. And then runs it out. And runs it out short of the first down. Carnell Lake had him pinned in from a strong safety position. So Mike Horan will come on to punt. There is Lake, second-round draft pick out of UCLA.
Probably the best part of this Pittsburgh defense is the young defensive backs that they have. The only guy they really have to worry about losing on age is Dwayne Woodruff.
And Derek Hill now back in punt formation as the deep man instead of Rod Woodson, who was back there earlier, and a 10-man rush coming up here again for Pittsburgh. Horan getting it away. And it takes a Denver hop down by the Broncos. Bruce Klosterman able to down it. 45-yard punt and a beauty by Horan. 10:28 to go in the fourth quarter. Brister 8 for 17, but in the second half, no yards. 1 for 3 thus far, and he overthrows Derek Hill at the far side. A second and 10, back at the 7. 10:24 to go in the fourth quarter, and the Broncos lead the Steelers by the score of 20-7.
Marv, they have not been able to consistently run the ball and really threaten Denver with the run today. So there's been a lot of emphasis on Bubby Brister trying to throw the football, and it's just not worked. And when you're down 20-7, it's tough because the defensive line now is in their sprinter stance, heading upfield. Look at that.
hitting the hole out across the 15-yard line. Tyrone Braxton, the left corner, making the stop on Tim Worley.
I want to see that graphic again. Make sure I saw that correctly. In 9 possessions, 6 times I've gone 3 plays and out.
Are your eyes going on you?
Well, maybe I thought I read it wrong. 6 of 9 possessions, 3 plays and out.
And that began right at the start. First 3 series for Pittsburgh. 1, 2, 3 on downs, and then the punt by Newsom. 3rd down and 1. Worley was just shy of the first down from the 11. Well, Hodge was tripped up. Ron Holmes got to him.
That's 7 of 10 drives, 3 plays and out. Great penetration at the line of scrimmage. Holmes 90 right inside the block. He beats Worley on the lead block. Actually, Hodge does a great job to get that much out of it, because Holmes anticipated the snap count was in there before anybody could do anything with it.
Well, they will measure. 9:20 remaining in this 4th quarter. The Broncos lead by 13, 20-7, and it is short of the first down. About a half-yard short, and so Pittsburgh is forced to give it up.
Down there in the pit, you'll see a body just come flying through there. There's Holmes, and the lead block responsibility to Tim Worley. He doesn't get it done, and 7 of 10 drives, Pittsburgh goes 3 plays and out.
Newsom to punt for the 8th time. Vance Johnson is back at his 40. Look out! Newsom in trouble, and down he goes. Well, last season, Harry Newsom had 6 punts blocked, an NFL record. Still, he led the league, averaging 45.5 per punt. Thus far this season, no blocked punts, but an adventure right here.
That's totally on him. Dermontti Johnson is the snapper that is certainly catchable. It's gone that way for Pittsburgh today. Look, this snap is fine, no problem. He just doesn't hang on to it.
So the Broncos, 1st and goal from the 2. Broughton and Humphrey in the backfield. Elway will take it in.
Boy, you know, the officials could throw a flag on that one. He went in there feet first. Rod Woodson hit him, and Woodson is still down.
John Elway runs it in from 2 yards away, and the Broncos now lead the Steelers 26-7. Elway 35 yards, 7 carries, and the touchdown.
Looked like a design rollout, quarterback keep all the way. And of course, Mr. Newsom's bobble of the punt snap, and that was it.
The try for the point after by David Treadwell. Harry Kubiak will put it down. 8:53 to go in this 4th quarter. Denver pulling away. Make it 27-7.
Some frustration on the part of the Pittsburgh Steelers here now. Lorenzo Freeman getting a little excited.
The David Treadwell kickoff. Woodson from the goal line. Just short of the 20, where he took a good pop. Scott Curtis leading the coverage. And again, words between these 2 clubs. Larry Griffin in there for Pittsburgh. Mark Munford, number 51 for Denver. A lot of finger pointing, and the officials able to break it up. John Elway has come on strong in this 2nd half. Intercepted twice in the 1st half. It kept Pittsburgh in the ball game, and Elway running one in and throwing one and taking the congratulations from his teammates.
That makes it official despite.
Elway 14 for 21, 261 yards. Gary Kubiak warming up on the sideline. That intended for the tight end, Mike Malarkey, covered by linebacker Rick Dennison. So we might see Kubiak on that next Denver series.
Well, as accurate as Bubby Brister was last week, 17 of 27 against Kansas City, he has not been good today. Had a good full week of practice, he told us. Last week, he took all the snaps on Friday, and this week he worked out the entire week. You can't blame this on his knee. Denver's just given him a lot of different looks, and he's missed some open receivers.
Only 1 for 5, no yards. Second half, Worley out to the 24-yard line. Dennison on the stop, along with Tyrone Braxton. We spent some time with Bubby Brister last night. Bubby at one point had to make a choice between baseball and football after finishing high school. Wanted to play baseball, was drafted by the Detroit Tigers, played instructional league ball with the likes of Howard Johnson and Glenn Wilson. His manager was Jim Leland, now the manager of the Pittsburgh Pirates. And I asked him, where did you play? He said, left field. And he also said that's where his game was, out in left field. He hit 186 and then decided to concentrate on football. Third down and 6 for Brister. In trouble. Can't find anyone. And then fires downfield for Thompson. And it's incomplete. Thompson and Smith battling for it. Ouija Thompson at 6'6", covered by the strong safety, Dennis Smith.
That's now 8 out of 11 drives. Pittsburgh has gone 3 downs and out. You can see the strong arm that Bubby has. Said he was a pitcher in high school. When they moved him to left field and he broke his thumb, he wanted out of baseball.
Well, once again, Harry Newsom is back to punt. Bobbled the last one. That led to Denver taking over on the 2. And now Vance Johnson finding room on the sideline, and he's been playing it safe, wisely so. Runs it out of bounds and does a little semi-hurdle 40-yard punt and a 9-yard return. Vance Johnson, a major factor in today's game as the punt returner and successful wide receiver.
Kubiak comes in at quarterback, replacing John Elway. And actually, Vance Johnson set the tone for the day when he had that first big punt return. Didn't go for a score, but it put Denver in great field position. And even though Elway had the 2 turnovers, the 2 interceptions, they've dominated.
Gary Kubiak has not taken a snap at quarterback this season. And he's greeted by the fans. First down from the Denver 45-yard line. Humphrey trying to pick his way and cannot find any room. David Little closing it up. Gary Kubiak in his 7th year out of Texas A&M. Started 4 times last year and has had success in some tough situations. He was the starter in the loss to Pittsburgh last year. Completed 15 of 27, a couple of touchdowns. Good backup, knows his role.
You mean he doesn't push the coaches to start?
I think in this case, there's no question.
Yes, no question whatsoever.
That is Natil in motion. Off the roll, Natil on the reception. Thomas Everett, the free safety, ran him out. Ricky Natil showing some speed, making it back from the injured reserve list. He was out with a cracked kneecap. Second catch of the day for Ricky Natil.
Now, before anyone accuses Denver of running up the score, this is not designed to pick up 22 yards. This is designed to get a yard or 2 or maybe 3. Keith Willis goes to the sideline for the Pittsburgh Steelers. But that's, I think, a play out of the run and shoot. A little roll down the line of scrimmage. There's Brister on the sideline. Not a good day. That's not good, especially off of the way he performed and his team performed last week. That's got to be very disappointing for both those guys. Tom Moore on the left, Bubby Brister, Merrill Hodge behind them.
Denver first down at the Pittsburgh 34. Off the delay, Sammy Winder could not make the turn. Carnell Lake and Brian Hinkle combined to make the stop. Coming up tonight on the Magical World of Disney, Ernest Goes to Camp, and that will be followed by 2 new episodes of the family comedy Sister Kate and My Two Dads, and then the world premiere of Cross of Fire, that is based on the true story of the rise and fall of the Ku Klux Klan in the Midwest during the 20s. A story that has received superb reviews. That's Cross of Fire tonight on NBC. You're looking at the late games on a 10-minute ticker. Here it's a 27-7 lead for Denver over Pittsburgh. Second down and 11. And Kubiak completes again.
Same play, other side.
Ricky Nattiel with his 3rd catch of the day. And discussion concerning where they will spot the ball. It is spotted at the 25, short of the first down.
Nattiel comes in motion. Kubiak squares his shoulders to the receiver. And then Nattiel does a great job avoiding the tackle by Woodson. And the dive, he's about, looks like about 1.5 yards short.
And there is Ricky Nattiel in his 3rd season out of the University of Florida. So the 3 amigos reunited today. 3rd at about 1.5 yards, just under 6 minutes left in this 4th quarter. Second back coming through has the first down. Sammy Winder stopped by Jerry Olszewski. Denver now being guided by Gary Kubiak on the move. This telecast is presented by authority of the National Football League, intended for the private use of our audience. Any rebroadcast or the use of this telecast without the express written consent of the Denver Broncos and the National Football League is prohibited. All rights reserved. Well, they will measure, and it is a first down. Denver Broncos in a battle with the Pittsburgh Steelers through the first half. It was only 13-7 at halftime, with Elway intercepted twice. The Steelers able to hang around, but in the 3rd quarter, Elway on a 44-yard touchdown to Vance Johnson, extending to 20-7. And then Elway's 2-yard touchdown run that came off the botched punt by Newsom to make it 27-7. 84, Nattiel in motion. First out of the 24. Humphrey broke a tackle and gets down to the 16. David Little, Dwayne Woodruff combined to make the stop.
You know, looking at those numbers on the score, you remember the interception that John Elway threw. I think the Pittsburgh Steelers started about the 35-yard line. So the Denver defense has basically pitched a shutout here. They've done very well on the long field. Short field, Brister got the 1 reception to Carter for the touchdown. So all parties, I believe, are pleased.
Yes, Denver's defense bouncing back. Wade Phillips disappointed with the way Denver's defense started out last week against the Eagles. Not pleased about some poor tackling at the start of the game. But, of course, the material a bit different when you look at the Eagles. The Steelers, Mel Bratton gunning for that first down. He's stopped by Rod Woodson. Broncos have had a very favorable schedule out of their first 9 games, as we touched on earlier. 6 played at home. Their last 7 games include only 2 at home against the Giants and the Seattle Seahawks. Next Sunday, Denver will be at Kansas City. They beat the Chiefs here on opening day 34-20. Then in 2 weeks, they'll be at Washington and then home for Seattle. Again, the yardsticks requested.
By the way, that football has Pete Rozelle's name on it.
Yes.
And as of midnight last night, there's going to be more space needed on that football for Paul Tagliabue.
Now officially the Paul Tagliabue era. Pete Rozelle's run of nearly 30 years as NFL commissioner coming to an end. Pete and his wife Carrie settling down on the West Coast. What a remarkable run. To put it into perspective, Bob, you realize that during his 30 years, baseball has had 6 commissioners. The NBA has had 4. The NHL has had 2. And remember, Rozelle was elected commissioner back in 1960 as a compromise candidate. That was on the 23rd ballot. So they couldn't decide that either.
I don't think the NFL will ever undergo as much growth and prosperity as it's gone through under Pete Rozelle's helm as commissioner. He's handled it with great dignity. Still admits that the only mistake he ever made was playing back in 1964 on the weekend of the assassination of John F. Kennedy. You don't find many people, if anybody, criticizing Pete Rozelle for anything he's done in the 30 years he's been commissioner.
Kubiak picked up the first down, 9th play of the drive coming up. Rozelle was asked the other day if there's any one particular moment that he cherishes, and I'll pass that on in just a moment. A look at our lineup next week. First down at the 12, and Humphrey to the outside. Humphrey looks to turn it in, and he does. So the Broncos take a 33-7 lead as Bobby Humphrey has scored his 5th touchdown of the season and has gone over the 100-yard mark. 105 yards, 25 carries. 2nd touchdown of the day. Make it 6 for the season for the rookie from Alabama. Last week, held to only 44 yards on 12 carries by the Eagles. We're down to 3 minutes to go.
Thankfully.
4th quarter. I'm enjoying it, Bob.
Well, me too, but for Pittsburgh, you don't want to have any injuries in the final 3 minutes of a football game that you're losing to this extent.
And the extra point by Treadwell is right through. The Denver Broncos now leading the Pittsburgh Steelers by the score of 34-7 with 3. Will kick it off. And it is Woodson on the return. And Woodson hit down across the 30-yard line. Randy Robbins making the stop. I mentioned before that there is a particular moment that Pete Rozelle cherished as he looks back at his career as NFL commissioner. He was announcing each team's first-round choice at the college draft. This after the Steelers' pass rush had harassed Fran Tarkenton back in Super Bowl number 9, and he said when the Vikings' turn came about, they did not make their choice in the required time, so he said Minnesota passes. And then without missing a beat, one of the draftniks on hand on the balcony yelled, and it's knocked down by L.C. Greenwood.
Pete's always kept his sense of humor.
First down at the 31. Brister in trouble.
Almost makes a completion.
Mecklenburg in pursuit of Bubby Brister, who is hobbling.
Yeah, it looked like his foot kind of slipped, and he may have turned his knee a little bit more. It's the left one. When he sets up, Mecklenburg in pursuit. Well, he almost kind of trips over his own feet, but manages to get it out there in the direction of Merrill Hodge for no completion.
Bob, it's been a shutout of Bubby Brister in the second half. 1 for 7, 0 yards. That's the overall, 8 for 21. Pittsburgh coming in 28th in total yards. A little shovel pass for Hodge. And so finally there will be some plus yardage. Not much though. Dennis Smith running out. Merrill Hodge. And look at this stat. In this 4th quarter. And Brister is able to complete the rookie Derek Hill with the long gainer. Gets to the 44. Kip Corrington on the tackle, a 22-yard pass play. And now the Steelers in the hurry up with 2:15 remaining in this 4th quarter. Look at our lineup following the Broncos and the Steelers. Another completion. Lewis Lips finally with his first reception. Randy Robbins making the stop. Well, tonight's lineup on NBC, beginning with Ernest Goes to Camp, then Sister Kate, Merrill Hodge, close to the first down marker. Simon Fletcher was right there. And Pittsburgh not able to pick it up. Long day for that man, Chuck Noll. 3rd down play. And Brister looking left sideline, and it is almost intercepted. Wyman Henderson had a shot at stopping the streak of Bubby Brister. He came into today throwing 153 passes without an interception. Intercepted only 3 times this year. Only Chris Miller of Atlanta has fewer interceptions. 2.
Oh, that was 3rd down and short, and he went for the distance. He was looking to get it done to Jason Johnson there. Ball was underthrown.
Jason Johnson, a one-time Denver Bronco, signed as a Plan B free agent, has seen limited service here today. So the 4th and 1. Steelers with nothing to lose. The clock working down, and Brister pops it to Humphrey, who drops it.
Actually, probably the kindest thing that could have happened to Pittsburgh. Turn it over to Denver. Let them run out the clock. Get out of here.
Field goals. Thanks to our producer, Glenn Adamo, our director, Andy Rosenberg, Mr. Stats handling the statistics, Elliot Kalb, our spotters, Merritt Cohn, Mark Friedman. As we come up on 1 minute remaining in this 4th quarter, Raiders with a 28-7 lead. Philadelphia, San Diego are tied, and the Giants on top. And that is our lineup tonight, starting with the Magical World of Disney and concluding with the movie premiere of Cross of Fire. Denver Broncos headed to a record of 7-2, leading the AFC West. Pittsburgh will drop to 4-5. Next week, the Steelers home for Chicago. 2 weeks home for San Diego, then back to the road for Miami. Their second half schedule appears to be less taxing than the first half. However, are not feeling too good about what took place here today, as they are losers to Dan Reeves and his Denver Broncos by the score of 34-7 as the clock is just winding down.
Bobby coming off a 17 for 27 performance last week. Got everything done today. He could accomplish very little.
So the Broncos with win number 7. 7 up, 2 down. We'll be back in a moment.